Hope Channel, changing lives.
And welcome to the Law Chambers, where legal matters are discussed from a Christian perspective. The name, Anita Dillard. So this season we've started, you already know, and already we're in episode 4 of the season. The first 2 episodes we did question and answers for the previous season. So all your questions in respect to the previous season were answered, hopefully. Yes. So last week we discussed the Ghana legal system. As I always do, we're not here to turn you into a lawyer. We are here to just give you some basic ideas of the legal profession and legalities so that you'll be able to protect yourself if need be. So last week we showed you where we started from where our legal system came from. The fact that we were colonized by the United Kingdom, and then we had a whole discussion here. I know you do remember. So now we're going to build on that. And if you have any questions, any contributions, any of our social media handles, Facebook, YouTube, we are there. You just ask your questions that we'll answer it. If you have a personalized one and you want to send it to us, you can send it to 0559 680066. The number again, 0559 680066. So that's the number, and we are live on Multi TV, right? Hope TV. So please relax and let's enjoy this particular episode. This month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. 1 out of every 1,000 men get breast cancer. 1 of every 9 women get breast cancer. They'll tell you previously, about 10 years ago, it was 1 out of every 1,000 women. But right now we are at 1 out of 9. That's how bad it is. Please go and test. It's very, very important. Go and have your test done. If they're able to see it quickly, you'll be healed completely. All right, so today we are going to talk about civil cases and criminal cases. Right? People go like, Anita, what's the difference between criminal cases and civil cases? Every case they go to the police station and the police will tell you, this is not a criminal matter, leave. What does that mean? How will I know the difference? I have a very important guest with me to help us go into this particular matter. So now when you have a case, the first question that comes up is, which matter is this? You'll be able to answer for yourself, and you know the appropriate place to go for redress, right? So let's go into this. Last week he was here. He was here with us. And I remember I got a lot of messages, and they were like, Anita, why don't you do one-on-one with him in respect to, I do legal show, So I can't go and ask one-on-one in respect to his personal issues. Please, I beg you. I think the other shows on Hope TV that they can go personalize with him. This is a legal show. I'll try and pass somewhere and see if I can add something small. Okay, so I'll do something small, but this is a legal show. He's here as a lawyer, as a doctor, to help us understand legalities. So please let us work with that. My apologies. Okay, so yes, I have again lawyer Dr. Yawanoche Frimpong. He's a lawyer, doctor, and the most important thing for me on this show is that he's a learned senior at the bar. He is an Adventist elder. He is an Adventist elder. Very Dansuman. Dansuman SDH. I've been there a number of times.
Baptized in 1980.
Baptized in 1980. Yeah, whoa, yeah, me crying, whoa, yeah, 1980, whoa, yeah. He was baptized in 1980, Dansuman SDA Church. That's where he fellowships. So if you're a Dansuman, I know a lot of Dansuman people. Shout out to you. I think they say lawyers we are controversial. I think we're not controversial. We just know what the right thing is, and we do it. So please allow us. One thing I also love about him is the fact that he's an expert in governance and constitutional law, and he's also a lecturer. Last week I told you all about him, but I want to remind you of the fact that he was the 2024 winner of the National Leadership Award Ghana, and he was also a decorated recipient of the Osajefo African Leadership Award, alongside personalities like President Mahama, and he was also, in his citation, he was described as Ghana's greatest exponent of Nkrumahism. That's a strong one there. Dog, You are welcome back.
Thank you.
When you were here last week, I had a lot of messages, a lot of calls, and all they were asking of us, Anita, I want to know a little bit more about him. And I go like, he's here to talk law, but I think, Doc, you can give us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, that's what I've helped you to tell everybody, that I'm a born Seventh-day Adventist.
Okay.
I've always been a Seventh-day Adventist. In fact, I'm told that the first foreign preachers who came to the coast, my grandfather or great-grandfather was their cook or interpreter. Okay. And when some of them drowned in the Ankobra River, it was in my grandfather's coconut farm that they were buried.
Wow.
So I've always been an Adventist. Sometimes, because most Adventists don't like politics.
Yeah.
And because I'm always talking politics, they think, or they find it difficult to accept that I'm an Adventist. I'm die-in-the-wool Adventist. I preach a lot. Those watching me know that I do a lot of preaching and Sabbath school teaching. I started preaching when I was in primary school. Yes, and it's what I like more, either teaching the Sabbath school or preaching. Apart from that, I don't like anything more. I tell them that, the lion,
yes,
no matter how hungry the lion might be, you can't give him cassava or grass or anything. He wants meat. Meat that he himself
has killed.
Yes, his own prey. So everybody knows what they want. Yeah, if you give me tithe or some other thing to come and do in the church, I'll tell you sorry. Either it's the Sabbath school or possibly the children's class, or
that would be a strong place to be.
Yeah, but I've taught a lot at the children's class. I love that place a lot.
To all the knowledge you have to really imbibe it.
Yeah, so when you are, because I remember many things that I learned in life when I was 4 years, 5 years old. So when I'm there teaching them, I also love it, so that they will remember. Children really don't forget things. Yeah.
And you married to an Adventist lady?
Sure, an Adventist lady, and we have 3 children.
Oh, all Adventists?
3 young children. The first is just passed out outside the country, called to the bar. Very soon, she will be called to the Ghana bar, about 24, 25-year-old.
Oh.
Then a second born at KNUST, and then a last born at secondary school. She completed secondary St. John's School this year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And while KNUST, is it law as well?
No, he's in electrical engineering.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Elder, you are blessed. Elder, you are blessed.
Yeah.
You are blessed. All right. So I've fulfilled all righteousness. Okay. Now, so Doc, let's go a little bit back to what we discussed last week. I want us to really, there were some potholes, and I want you to help us fill it out. So I want us to look at why it takes so long. You were discussing it, but we didn't complete on that. Why it takes so long for cases in a legal system to go through. Like someone would say, I go to court 5 years, 7 years, I'm still in court. Why do we have those issues? And really, is the judiciary that independent? Before we zoom into today's topic.
Why cases delay in court? You see, anytime people ask me this question, I refer them to this Bawumia case, the pink sheet case.
Yeah.
When years ago MPP thought that the election had been rigged, and they went to court. You remember that the Supreme Court shelved all other businesses and concentrated on that case. Even there, it took 8 months for the court to give its verdict. So that should tell you that it is part of the common law system. The meaning of the common law is all the countries, let's say basically speaking English, that use English as first language. We were colonies of Britain, and their law is called the common law. And those of us who have inherited it, it is a cardinal principle of the common law that justice would delay, but it will not be denied. Properly so called. And I say that because as opposed to the Roman law countries that obtained their law from the Roman system, those that were colonized by Rome, those that form part of the Roman Empire strictly, their law is called a civil law. When Napoleon conquered almost the whole of Europe, he tried to ensure that all Western Europe will follow the Roman law. Their system is characterized by the fact that everything you can think of as a piece of law has been written down already, codified. Like how Ghana we have the Criminal and Other Offences Act. Everything is written. So if you want to know what will happen to you when you steal, you just go to the law, sections 23 or 24 of the of Act 29, 1960, and then you will know what will happen to you when you steal. Theirs is written. In our case, even where the law has been written down, you cannot trust it until it has been tested before a judge, because our law, as opposed to having to be said to be written, is rather judge-made laws. So when you go to, let's say, Ivory Coast, for instance, let's say the whole capital, Abidjan, may have just about 5 courts, whereas in Accra, the court complex alone has more than 50 high courts. Then you go a bit to the Supreme Court area, the Amasaman, everywhere, court, because our system thrives on what judges say. And because it is not written, and it will depend on what a judge will say, that would presuppose that the two lawyers, one representing you and one representing me, would have to impress the judge as to very good. So because of that, we become 3 people, you know, 2 opposing lawyers, and then a disinterested arbiter, who being a human being, and let's say you a lady sitting there, maybe tomorrow you come and tell the court, sorry, the court is not sitting because Mrs. Justice, whatever, is taking her child to the hospital. It will happen, and it has to happen. Or another, she's attending a conference, this or that, at that, this or that place. Then the other lawyer too has got so many cases. Today he's brought a letter that is supposed to appear this or that. So they add to it. And then because the system dwells on evidence, the whole essence of law is evidence. There's something in the Bible which is so beautiful. It's in the book of Revelation. It says that the 3 people will say, "Share merebantem na mikuta makotua wonsem na mede bema mo sane awunyuma ete." You see, God is coming to judge us based on evidence that He has got prepared already in His hands.
For you or against you.
And because He is God, He doesn't need human evidence. And because He doesn't need human evidence, His judgment will be very swift. Very, very swift. Because He has everything prepared already. He's always recording. I'm told that is what He's doing every day. So the moment we appear before Him, He doesn't need to ask you questions. He only needs to show you what you did yesterday, and then you yourself. But here, you know,
you and I were in there. So we have to prove.
Very good. And we are not God, and we don't have any piece of God in us to have a third eye to know that, hey, what you are saying, you are lying. As a result, we look for factual evidence, and it's not easily available. It's not. Even the person who has it may not be able to even speak in court in the first place. So I don't want to belabor the point. All that I'm saying is that there are so many factors that makes our system go slow. And what even makes it worse is that it's full of technicalities. So much technicalities to the extent that you may have a very fine case, and then the lawyer is not able to do what he's supposed to. And then sometimes they tell, oh, like a land case, oh, but you should have come before 12 years. And the person didn't know he should have. So many things. So accept that, unlike what pertains in the French-speaking countries, or Germany, or Russia, or Poland, our system is based on the English-speaking system. And it is naturally slow.
Is it also because in the French-speaking country you are guilty until proven innocent? So if you do something, you are guilty. So you now have to prove you're innocent.
That's the French system.
Yes, but looking at our system, you are innocent until proven guilty. So it means they have to get more evidence
and beyond reasonable doubt.
If it's a criminal,
and once you are not able to reach that
threshold in respect of criminal, it becomes an issue.
And
then what about our holidays? Because you look at the holiday period, isn't it too much?
Yeah, see, what for the nation first, and then the lawyers' holiday to the vacation. Do you know how it came about? It was during the colonial time when all the judges and lawyers, to start with, were foreigners, but part of the colonial system. And so every year they had a period that after all things they had to go away for 3 months and come back.
Their family,
and it became part of the tradition because the earlier judges to lawyers were also trained in Britain. And in those days, they also felt big that if the white man said, "Boy, you know, so I'm so well, that's why they were trained. And it has become part of us. And I would have wished that
because it has lost, it's lost its essence.
Yeah, that it doesn't really help anybody. That 2.5 months legal vacation. And then when you come, what happens is that from that time to December, it's also so short, that the judges, the courts are jammed with cases, and so they will have to start throwing to January, February, March. So it doesn't
really
help.
And then the holidays, and then the Christmas festivities.
And then after beyond that to the appeal system, you know, when you want to appeal against a decision, that alone can take 2 or 3 years.
Months,
Oh, do you say months? It can take years. Yes, appeal. Oh.
So that's
yes, several years.
I mean, it's come across one.
Yeah, you.
It's not bad.
You see, after everything at the High Court, you know, the case will have to be typed, bound to a booklet, and then processed. What about the lady typing it? Tells you that me judge no can hand that to me
But the minute you tip this person no
which is wrong. Which is completely wrong. And the moment also the other person who is benefiting from you not appealing also comes to tip the lady.
Yeah, should not see.
Every time you come, judge me sanka the document in it, judge no one sign it. So please just understand that in the common law system, it is just.
Isn't that the reason why I feel as if most of our people are getting fed up and feel defeated with this whole system of
They shouldn't get fed up because it's like the worst form of democracy is still better than the best form of a military dictatorship. Yes, so they shouldn't get fed up. What rather we need to do, which I have said on television, on radio many times, is that first and foremost we need to appoint so many judges. You know, you go to a very big community such as Takwa, one of the biggest towns in Ghana, one of the richest towns in Ghana. It is the seat of galamsey activities in the country with several international mining companies and then this manganese company, so many activities in Takwa. And you have only one high court in Takwa. You understand? The twin cities, I can do Takwa, just about 5 or 6 high courts. A very big community such as Axim, no high court. Aguna Nkwanta, no high court. Look at Techiman. It's only now that the state has set up a high court. Techiman is far bigger than Sunyani. You know, in the days when Ashanti and Bono Ahafo used to be one region, Techiman was just second to Kumasi. Just second to come, bigger than Mampong or Fenso or Boise, and then now we have just one high court. So you can imagine the number of cases that would inundate any judge over there to overwhelm you. You need about 5 to 8 high courts.
Wouldn't they say that because of financial constraints?
Why? Because of financial constraints. Isn't the country our own property? Why don't you make sure that the judicial system is accessible to everyone? Because, for example, if, let's say, the only circuit court, and it used to be until I wrote to the Chief Justice, and then now we have a circuit court in Axim. Even there, it sits only once a week. It is the circuit court judge in Takwa that moves to Axim. And you know that when it comes to rape and certain offenses, You can't, the district court cannot handle it. And so the culprits will have to be, and victims will have to be transported from a very far end of the Western region to Takoradi. You know, and sometimes you get there, the court didn't sit, and then you are going back. And it takes the policemen to use their own money. I mean, somebody who has committed an offense, and you are telling him that he should pay for taxi or whatever. And then if he says he won't pay. So it is the police who do that. And then one day, district commander in the Nzema area spoke to me and said, lawyer, who letter to the Chief Justice. In fact, I recommended several towns in the Western region and the Western North region. A very huge community such as Asankrigwa, no high court. Go to Western North region. Only one high court at Sewiwioso. What about that big mining town called Bibiani? You understand? So we need more judges in the first place.
The courts.
Second, when you go to America, the students who immediately come out of the law school, you know, you look at various subjects and those who did so well, they attach them to the judges. And they write there, they do research work for them, they write their judgments. Then at the end of the day, they sit down and discuss. So when it happens that, you know, fresh students, fresh ideas, new Supreme Court judgments, no. You know, so when you put them, they want to impress because they are just more or less student lawyers.
Yes.
When they do that, it makes the judgment so, almost so accurate. And then two, very unbiased. Because the student lawyer whom you have given this case does not know anything about what happens in the courtroom. All that he knows is what has been put in front of him, the documents. And he goes to do his own research. And he also wants to impress the judge. And he wants to, as much as possible, have a situation whereby when judgment was read in court, the party that lost the case felt it unnecessary to appeal because that was very succinct, fair, succinct, dispassionate. So they have, and their system is moving on. And then the third one is that they have all the necessary gadgets so that as you speak in court, everything is auto-recording. So it makes the
instead of the writing and then the typing.
In the case of Ghana, look at the court complex in Accra. It used to have those gadgets. But you know that in Ghana, our maintenance system, the next 2-3 days you go and everything has broken.
Even the air conditioning is not working.
Even the AC. You go and then you stand there and you are sweating. You understand? So when I suggested this to them, before I blame anybody, let me tell you something. We had a lecturer at the law faculty many years ago called Mr. K.Y. Yeboah. He was the one teaching us in those days, so in the 80s, about this American system. And then I remember I raised my hand and I asked him, how come that you don't tell the Ghana judiciary to do the same thing? And he says they won't do it because the judge sitting there writing his judgment, with much apology to all of you judges, he wants to be seen as the one who wrote his own judgment. You understand? So that there was nothing like external interference. It was his own judgment. So even if he has over 50 judgments to deliver within the next 2-3 months.
When the person gives it to you, he has a final say in respect to reviewing the judgment.
Let me land. You see, why he wants to do his own thing is that, you know, we have our own problem here. I don't want to use the word bribe, but there are many times where we think that I will punish this person standing there. Oh, because he's an Adventist, I'll teach him a lesson. Or he was the one who insulted the Adventist. Or he's an MPP, I'll teach him a lesson. Or he's an LWM, I'll teach him. See, because of many of such things, including bribes, we always want to have absolute control over what we are doing so that we determine the outcome. You know, I had a case with, where I was doing a case. Then one day, the judge is still alive. The judge called my client to her office, her chambers, and said, collect the case from Lawyer Noche and I will give you a lawyer. And then you will win and you will be free. And my client said, sorry, it's a whole church I am leading. And the church recommended Lawyer Anoche. And If he is not doing well and you give me evidence of it, I go and show to the church and point everything out to them. Then they would maybe take your advice. But for now, there's nothing I can to go and say that they no. Then he said, I want to ask you a question. Then the lawyer who was supposed to take over, he said, is it that I'm not here? And when we were on campus, they were teasing me that I had a feminine voice. And then he said, yes, oh, Madame Fopano. Not knowing, because the disputed land was at a very juicy part of Accra. Let's say East Legon or Makati. It's about 3 acres in a very juicy part. Judge wanted a situation whereby you give a judgment and then you give it. That's what happened. And my client didn't tell me until I started having problems in court. The injunction I had later on was overturned. So, then my client told me, counsel, then he told me everything that happened. I said, oh, don't worry. Picked my pen and paper and wrote a petition to the Chief Justice. Do you know what the judge did? The next time, when she was taken away from that court, indeed she was taken away from the court, the next judge that came there, not knowing she had left a message for her that Lawyer Noche reported me and I was taken away from this court. So please, make sure you deal with him as you have taken over the case. What she also didn't know was that judge was my classmate. So she called me to her chamber and said, Anoche, Nadia, now what do you message just so. Well, leave a message who has a menchira unyansano. So if we have this in our system,
such vindictiveness.
Yes, how would the system go on well? Because the moment you decide to go beside the law and do the wrong thing, the client or the party that loses the case reads through and understands where you went asunder. You understand? Yeah. Then he would appeal. Yeah. So we have so many cases on appeal because of bad judgments. But in America and then places like Europe, wherever, because the judges want to impress, they want to be quoted. They are also working with the right gadgets. They are working with these lawyer students I'm talking about. Everything was so expeditious. When it happens that way, only a few cases will go on appeal. And because the cases on appeal too are few, the appellate judges too have sufficient time and with all their expertise to deal with it. So part of the problem is the fact that we don't have modern gadgets there. 2, like AI, we should employ everything into it. And then 2, the judges' own deficiencies. And then 3, because of sources of funding, poor funding, we don't have many judges, and then many courts.
It's quite interesting when I listen to you. I look back and I realize that we are 10 years at the bar, and then you look at the situation, you go like you get tired. You wake up in the morning, you rush, like let's say around 4 or 5, you rush to court, and then around 8, 9, the judge will not sit. We're like, can't you have a system where the judge will tell the lawyers that because of this, I cannot sit, so that no one comes to court, and then your client comes to court, and your client is not ready to pay transportation.
And then have you also realized that you go to court, and by between 11 and 1:30, the courts are closed. You understand?
Yes, so if there's so many
teacher
cases,
is teaching up to 4 or 5 p.m.
And then civil servant
would direct traffic, but you too, you are working for the state.
5 o'clock.
Within a short, and then you get there, so your case has been called. You were not here. Why don't you, as a judge, begin to say that, but he's one lawyer, he's doing about 4 or 5 cases, and then why do you have to quickly adjourn and then go away? You have to stay there up to 4 p.m.
At least.
You have to stay there up to 4 p.m. So let's move to the main subject.
Let's move to the next. Otherwise, we will be beaten up.
So there are several SDA judges. I'll talk to 1 or 2 of them. My mate was Justice Asiedu. You will bring him here and then ask him this question. Not me. Me, I'm just a lawyer. He is a judge. You bring him here, or maybe you bring the 2 of us.
Yes, I would love that. I would love that. So, Senior, let's move on to today's topic, which is civil cases and then criminal cases. When you talk of criminal cases, what are criminal cases? What are civil cases? And what are the differences between these?
Before I answer, let me say that even though there is a distinction between the common law system, as we keep saying, and then the civil law system, civil law countries. Back home, within the civil common law jurisdiction, we have split our laws into basically two: public law and then private law. The public law aspect is also called civil law. So even though Ghana is not a civil law country, the word civil is used to describe public law. Like, for example, to describe,
Yeah.
to describe all the law outside criminal law.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Public, yeah.
To describe the law outside criminal law.
Yeah.
So when you come here, we have criminal law,
Yes.
and then we have civil law. Yeah. So that is the two systems. These are the two systems we have. Now let's explain the criminal law first. Criminal law is public law.
Okay.
It finds itself within the ambit of public law. In public law, we have constitutional law too, and then criminal law. Here, we are talking about the state itself being the active participant in the dissemination of justice, and that is the public nature of it. And that is why, in most cases, in a criminal case or public law, cases to do with public law, it starts with R, Republic, or the state versus. Yes, because it is the state handling it. And then when it comes to...
So it's more of the offense has been committed against the state.
Against the state. The offense has been committed against... And what are the offenses against the state? Every aspect of crime is directly against the state. So, for example, if you commit murder, it is a crime. Manslaughter is a crime. Rape is a crime. Defilement, you understand, stealing, robbery, and all the driving offenses that you see. Assault, beating somebody, fighting, they all come under criminal law, because the state would not want a situation whereby, left to you to prosecute, one or two things may occur. As you said there, if somebody mercilessly assaults you, that is in ordinary English, you say, has beaten you up, you know, if the state allows you to go about it yourself, there would be violence in society, because and then you will be hurt forever. That's very emotional. Or you have a brother or a husband or a son who would want to go and take vengeance. Yeah. And maybe when he gets there, he will meet super vengeance. So when this takes place in society, what will happen? Chaos. So the state says, don't worry, I will take care of them. Or if the state leaves you to handle it, you may not have the resources to do that. So the state gathers all such cases on its bosom and then disseminates justice in that area. Most of such cases are handled by the police and then other bodies that operate like the police, like for example IOCO and then what
Attorney General,
NI, National Investigation Bureau. No, those places, they all operate under the Attorney General's department, the Office of the Special Prosecutor. They are all under the attorney. So all such cases, like somebody who is thieving state money, state funds, you know, let's say Mayor MPP, big man, or Mayor NDC, nobody will touch him. But because the state handles that aspect, don't worry, the Inspector General of Police will deal with you. All that we need is for somebody to petition the Inspector General of Police, and that's all. The prosecution will be set in motion. So most often than not, at our level, let us just understand that almost all the cases that go through the police system, police station, before going to court, they are titled Republic. So if I'm the culprit, I will be called, I'm the suspect at the police station level. Then when it goes to court, I'll be the accused person. And I'm Yaw Anokye Frimpong. So it will be Republic versus Yaw Anokye Frimpong. Yes. So it is always prosecuted in the interest and in the name of the state.
So not the civil matter.
When it comes to the civil matters, by and large, they are private. Why private? They are based on contracts or taught. A contract is, for example, you and your husband. You know that marriage is a contract.
It is.
Very good. Everybody should know that marriage is a contract.
It is.
And the first prerequisite of marriage is that one of the parties must be a man and the other party must be what?
A woman. Very important.
Otherwise not marriage.
Yes.
And then they must live together.
Yes.
That is why we have a matrimonial home. You understand? So marriage is a contract.
Yeah.
And then one possibly takes care of maintenance, one takes care of that, or the two of them,
Team up.
because it's an agreement between the two of them. And so at any point in time, when for any reason one is fed up and cannot continue, he goes to court in order to have it broken down completely over there. And the judge will not do it until the parties themselves are behaving irreconcilably.
Yes.
Then the judge would note that the marriage has broken down beyond reconciliation. So it is not the court that dissolves your marriage. You have
I've already dissolved it before.
Sometimes you think an SDA lawyer partner we have divorce cases. That SDA lawyer, if he is not there, you will not be able to dissolve your ordinance marriage.
Amicably.
You can't, because it has to go to court.
Maybe they want the other lawyers to do that, but not the SDA
non-adventist lawyers. Why don't you have your own brother lawyer to help you? You understand? But let's put that one aside. So private law is usually contracts, and not only marriage that is contract, but let's say contract to buy a car, any business, to buy land here, all contracts. And then also all tort. In law, when we say tort, we are talking about private offenses which do not offend or affect the state. Some of which is, for example, I put this phone here. You say it's for you. Not that you are stealing it, but you say that genuinely you believe that it is yours. And then me too, I'm saying it is for me. Like litigation over land case. These are private. That is where you don't find the name Republic, because the Republic is not interested in it at all. It's between two private citizens. So it will be Anoche versus Delight. In that case, if you are, let's say, crime, the state has a lawyer for the complainant. But in the case of a private matter, it is the two of us who pay your lawyers to pay our lawyers. So it's as simple as that. And we manage our cases. And then also in the case of a crime, there's nothing like pardon, forgiveness. No, because it is part of the law that after the judge has tried the case in a criminal suit, he's supposed to sentence the accused. So sentencing is another policy altogether. You know, there's no way you can forgive someone in a criminal case, because it is against the state. And the state cannot forgive you, cannot pardon you, unless you belong to a certain category. For example, if it is discovered that you are not up to 17, very good. So those things. They said there's no way, they say, because
sometimes when you are, it's your first time, they can mitigate it, but it will not.
So it's like that. And that one, even the range within which you should be punished, and we call it punishment. After every criminal trial, the judge will have to impose a punishment upon you. And that punishment is not coming from the head of the judge. Everything has been written down for the judge to follow. And it's not that he just looks at your face and say, go in for 10 years or 20 years. No. He considers all the circumstances available. For example, you are just 18 or 19 and you are pickpocket. You know, the judge will consider a sentence given to you that will reform you in prison. So your imprisonment becomes reformative, a place we want to reform you. So go and learn a trade. If you were apprenticed, you had learned a trade, you wouldn't have gone to steal if you were earning money. So when they put you to prison, the state ensures that you learn something so that you don't become a burden there. Two, when somebody is 18, 19, 20, all things being equal, if he's supposed to die at the age of 80, the state will make sure that you come out quicker, so that the state makes good use of you rather than wasting your energy over there. And then when somebody is, let's say, 60 years and above and commits a certain offense, you know, because he has committed that offense, let's say he has taken state church money, and then he goes to prison. That's stealing, that form of punishment is more or less reformative not reformative, sorry, rehabilitative, to rehabilitate him,
The person.
because it is so easy for him to understand what he has done as wrong. And then two, if he continues to stay in the church, maybe somebody will beat him up, like what this woman did. The fetish priest turned pastor.
If anything.
No, Obaya.
Oh.
That Kwawu woman who says me.
Agrada,
very good. You know, that person, you know, that one becomes something rehabilitative, because the many people she offended, if the state did not intervene, so that she spends a certain number of years there, by which time tempers would have cooled down, and then two, the sentiments around it, and then she herself too will know that when you are doing religious business, go strictly by the biblical tenets, and you will not offend anybody. So you see that the mindset of the judge in imposing some sentence upon it is different from the pickpocket one. And then the third situation is a deterrent sentence, where so many people are committing that offense, like what do you call it, driving offenses, and then robbery. So many people doing, or galamsey.
Yeah.
In that case, you will see that the sentence will be high to ensure that other people will be deterred and they won't go and do the same thing. So all that we are saying is that anytime a judge sits down to impose a sentence upon you, she looks at your circumstance and then will give you some form of...
Then again, Doc, sometimes the public sentiment is right on when a woman goes to steal yam from a farm or a fowl, and she gets 5-10 years, and then the politician is asked, okay, pay back the money, and part of the money, okay, and the person goes. Isn't there disparity in here?
Yes, but it's an area we have to delve into.
It's a whole topic. Okay.
Yes,
okay,
not
all
now.
All right.
My worry, I thought what you were going to say was that in a particular situation, somebody steals cassava, and then he goes in for maybe 5 years. Somebody steals money, huge sum of money, and it's the same 5 years or less. But all this, we'll talk about that later. But don't also forget that if, for example, Anita Delight sitting here with me, were a judge, and let's say she really struggled in life before getting to where she is as a judge, struggled, lived in abject poverty, and she was able to find herself there, as opposed to Judge B, who never saw what hunger was, never, and was completely opulent. Also a judge, you see, when somebody steals money and is brought before you, you will discern what will make somebody steal, because you will remember your background. And then that person will also, the other judge will say, so them 20 years. And then you too, you will go to, there was a time, you understand?
I do.
So the circumstance of the judge, we call it environmental bias.
But if you're going to be fair, we are really going to use the rules as in the Act 29 to operate, that those biases shouldn't be this obvious.
The biases will be there because always you are given an ambit within which you operate.
A range, yeah.
You understand? Yeah. So if it is stealing from 1 year to about 24 years or so, you understand? Yeah, the judge's own circumstance will come, yes, because he will just look at you based upon,
give you the maximum.
And then you too, even you, let's say I categorize you as somebody who suffered in life before getting to.
Yeah, please.
Sometimes too, you will tell the person that but I paid my own school fees. I had the same temptations and I never stole. So why should you go and do the same thing? You can give the person very high sentence. So when we talk about sentencing, we are not talking only about the law there, but the circumstance of the judge too counts a lot. And so we can move on. So basically, criminal law is public law. The state prosecutes, and there is always punishment. And when you say punishment, punishment is an infliction that is given by the state. So those of you who always say, I will punish you, please, certain words are not to be used just like that.
So we can look at punishment in terms of you paying some money or going to jail. Or
you pay money, that is a fine.
Yeah, fine.
Or going to jail
Or
or
both.
being made to do some work. In certain countries, they will suspend the sentence and give you some work to do outside.
Community work. Yeah, but Ghana, it's not that common.
We are yet to get to that thing. And then too, sometimes it is not imprisonment, it is death.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are moving away from that.
the-
I
to
disagree
life.
anyway. Personally, I believe that whoever kills must be killed.
Wow.
And that is justice for the dead.
I think this is a whole new topic.
We'll talk about that later.
Because
It's justice for the
because
dead.
we've seen occasions where people were really wrongfully convicted. So if you kill such a person, later you realize the person was wrongfully. How do you bring such a
So
person back
it's
to
one
life?
of the advantages of the common law system where the trial is always delayed very slow. So eventually, before it gets to the Supreme Court, we'll have known whether you are.
But there's some
you
people
are
who've been in jail for 20, 30 years before then they were vindicated.
Yes, then the state will have to pay you. You will be
Yes, but if the
compensated by
person is
them.
already dead.
If the person is already, he
Dead,
died in
like-
prison.
No, as in we killed him because we thought he had taken a life.
Yes.
And so the person is already dead. And then we realized that
Such scenarios are very few.
is in
Less
yeah.
than
So why don't we give them
0.5?
life imprisonment? So that there's always
So that he eats 3 times a day over there at the expense of the state. No, I don't believe in that. I believe that, you see, when you kill him, it will deter, let me say, when you execute him, it will deter other people from doing the
From
same thing.
doing
Because
it.
sometimes the person will say, "Make cool nema kodem." Make cool nema kodem. Because he knows that when he kills in Ghana, they will not execute him. He will go and be in prison. He doesn't care. You understand? But when he kills and then he's found guilty, and then we all know that, oh, yesterday they sent him to Teshi and they executed him, or they hanged him
Hanged him.
in Sawam prison. It will bring some sanity into our system. But that's another
a whole
topic.
thing. Okay.
Let's-
So now I have to go on break, but I have too many questions. So please, today I'm not going on break. Forgive me. So, Senior, looking at, there are some issues, like let's say, for example, rape. It's a criminal offense. The person has supposed to be, the case is supposed to be reported to the police, and the police takes it up. Sometimes the people say, oh, we will do it ourselves, we will amicably settle the matter, which shouldn't be the case. Sometimes they take it to the police station, and the policeman says that, where the prosecutor could dem or swap. 1920 or so into then settle with you. Sometimes you take it to court and the whole time and everything, people are no more interested in it, and so they want to settle. So Senior, so my question is, there are some cases that cannot be amicably settled at home, and it's not a civil matter. But some of the state institutions are in a way forcing people either voluntarily or involuntarily to settle the matter. What
Yes,
part of it?
there are certain cases that are referred to ADR. Like if it is, let's say, landlord-tenant cases, if it is about debt you owe, they can easily be settled. But when it is to do with crimes related to dishonesty, like stealing, like robbery, you can't settle this matter. And then things to do with sexual offenses, you can't settle such matters. So the church elders and the pastors should listen to us.
Yeah.
If it is rape, if it is you have injured somebody and the person will live with it forever, and they say, well, they are sorry, you can't do it. And then they tell the woman certain negative thing that, you see, when people get to know that you were ever raped, nobody will marry you.
Yeah.
Please, let us begin to tell the ladies that when we rather get to know that this was what was done to her, and she was bold, very brave, and brought the matter to the police domain, she is the one who will be respected by the,
and that the society and then the church will protect her.
Yes.
Because
and then such case, you are also protected all the time. They are lying. When it is to do with sex offenses, we do not hear the matter in public. We don't do it in public. It is only always within the chambers of the judge, and then the identity of the woman involved is always protected.
But most of them are not. Sometimes the corporate will go to the lady's house, go and beg, and will be telling people, will be spread. All these things usually was.
Maybe settle it in church is also the same thing. He's still going to bring family members to. The fact is that once it is wrong, it is wrong.
It is.
And it has to follow its channel. It's as simple as that.
So the police can't tell people to.
They should not
They
do
shouldn't
that.
do that.
They should not do that. Sometimes too, they tell you when it is sexual offense, they tell you, go and see the girl's mother, the amount of money she wants to charge you, and then we drop the matter.
Yeah.
You understand? And then the woman too immediately begins drawing up a certain budget that if you can pay maybe 20,000 Ghana, and then the police will come and say, wait a repo, would you go back them 20 years to compare Busiana?
But what about the person who was raped? The child who was defiled?
That one,
don't think about that.
Yes, like Russia-Ukraine war. You know, they put Ukraine somewhere, and then Russia and America will meet. Yeah, the country that is suffering will not be brought into the
discussion. Yeah. So, and then the flip side of it is that there can be a criminal matter where there will be a civil matter within.
Oh, there's several of such matters. Several of such matters. For example, issues to do with land cases. You see that there is a fight over a particular piece of land. At the same time, it has a civil connotation because at the end of the day, you are talking about title to property. So there are cases like that. Yeah.
And then I was talking to a friend, and we realized also that. So let's say, for example, a matter, let's say, a car has hit someone, injured someone. The police comes in. Sometimes they will prosecute the person and all that. And then the person, as in the victim, can sue the person.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I want
it's a good example.
Yes. I want to look at that.
In fact, every road accident is a criminal offense. Every road accident is a criminal offense. So whether you like it or not, once you commit an offense on the road, it becomes an offense. Then within this offense, there are several liabilities, one of which will be insurance. You know, that insurance aspect is handled in the civil way where you deal with the insurance company if the vehicle is properly, validly insured. At the same time, it has a criminal connotation. When it is not insured at all, then that one too becomes a criminal offense. Then when it comes to the issue, the quantum of liability, that after the state has punished you because the accident is a criminal offense, so whether you like it or not, the state will punish you. Then when it comes to the damage caused to the vehicle, maybe damage caused to third parties and other people's property, that one is handled in a civil matter. And the reason why it is handled in a civil matter is that the state is not a debt collector. So the two of you will settle your own matter. So sometimes the driver will go to jail, spend 3 months over there. When he comes back, he is made to pay for the vehicle, especially if it is not insured. He will be made to pay, or the car owner, because it's not insured, you will go to prison, all right, or you will be fined. After that, you come and pay the amount of money that
because the criminal one will go into the state's coffers.
Yes. So the fine will go to, it could never be given to this person. Yeah. Sometimes, like when somebody assaults someone, you know, you will be made to pay a fine. It goes to the state. Then the court will make a further order that you should pay his medical bill for him, and maybe because of that he has lost his job. He will be made to remedy the situation.
So now, Senior, let's look at contempt of court. Contempt of court. So the Kwasi, let's look at both angles, the criminal side of it and the civil side of it.
Contempt of court is when somebody has done something that offends the judicial process. You know, where, for example, or let me say, anything that you do within the law which ultimately shows disrespect to the court or takes the duty of the court to do justice, you know, take that duty away from the court. When you do that, the law frowns upon it and it becomes contempt of court. Let me give you practical examples. You've gone to court, you have lost a case, the court says that leave this land, don't be on the land again. It was the court that made that statement. When you go back to the land, it is not just a criminal offense, it is a contempt of court because what the court said you do not want to respect. So you were brought before court and then the court will hear the matter. If it is true that in any manner you showed disrespect to the court because you didn't want to respect the judgment of the court, it will be contempt of court. Another aspect of contempt of court is where you are sitting in the courtroom and your phone makes noise. It means that you are offending the court and it amounts to contempt of court. Or let's say you are having a conversation in court, or you go to courtroom with pen and paper trying to take down notes in the courtroom without first seeking permission from the judge, or you go and make a recording in the courtroom, whether you are a journalist or whatever. You are not supposed to record anything in court. Or when you insult the judge, or when the judge asks you to walk out and you are not prepared to walk out. Anything that you do which disobeys the court order would be contempt of court. And then also, when there is a matter pending before court, which is being tried, that's what I mean. And then you go on air, like some of us who always appear on radio and TV and to talk. And then you say something that affects the court. Like, for example, now a very live case is the Daddy Lumba matter. You know, the estate matter before court. Who is Daddy Lumba's real wife now? And then you talk, instead of just making a comment on it, you talk to the extent that the court may feel that you have taken over its duty. It will amount to contempt of court. That I think that if Ajua Broni doesn't win this case, that judge will have to be sacked. Or Kosia Sewa should win the case because of ABCD. Otherwise, I will say that the judge has taken bribes. The moment you say that, and then it is reported to the court, you know that you have committed contempt of court, because what you have said shows disrespect to the court. And then 2, the court is the only avenue where judgment is pronounced. But because you went on air to pronounce judgment, you've taken over the court's duty. The court's constitutional power, you've taken it away. As it's like taking somebody's wife. You understand?
I thought you were going to look at the other sector. All right, Senior. So in less than a minute, 2 minutes, summarize everything we've discussed here in Chi for us.
Okay. Near Kayina no NSA. Woba emiremua. Yawadi a friend of Bonnie. Bonnie ne adia etia o mine. Enti sa insamini nyina na yedi kan airport ma police for. Na yehwe ne ho na anye ya ansa na akokot. Enti da bia no kogina court da mu a police for no bekenkan ne waye ne de akiro. Ne ya bisa se wudi fa na wudi bem. Da bia sansam ne tesa no eno ne yefra ne bone. Ne atoso biem eno na nya bone. Eye momienu o mine mamu bi police for de yane na o mine no ebem. Nti na police da no kwaye complain wo police station a yanyi wusika no. Na mom say tesa memeni ewure. Ana ye atwe manso wo phone ni ho a o mine na mam no ho mbam. Nti ya mienu no obi apa obefa lawyer. Ni on fa lawyer no so emfa obi a ho. Wa obi asase bi ana momienu mo atwe ho manso a eno so emfa o mine no ho. Na ye try say ye be kirekire mu ni ntira yansam eche ewo court ye kire mu se eye no ma bebre ana mansam ne che wo court ene se enya ade a ya twero ye mera no se ye hwe mu a 1+1 ye 2 ne ya kan wie da bi eye se ye twe manso a wo court kosi mera judge no ade atemuo no ebeba eno no cases na delay pa ene se judge na ye nipa ne da nyina na obesity bi ansuo bi twen ne ka say wo kwam ono so ko ayie lawyer for ono sesa ya say lawyer o maame ewu ti se ne 27 September me kwaye me maame ayie eno so obeka kire judge no de ho adanse ye ba ye betu mama ne be na woche so mfa nkokwohwe ne maame ayie bi ana lawyer esu kuta cases baboro oha nti sa na woche no asai bibia next time ye say lawyer no kuta case no wa yare dendende at the hospital ye betu atu case na shada judge bi so yare ba bosome o ya transfer judge foforo me share nanai sa no mani nyina ema cases no eche ewo court na mom ni nyina no ye kan say eche dan kura eti say obeka se mahama banye ana na Akufo Addo aban enye 1000 times eche Rollins Star no ye sojani no because soja ban bi enu abaka say ye papa e chain ne ya to no so aba me di gina we so apa kyerese se wo ka say court wa ye kɔ no nsɛm no e cha e ye chain se won kɔ court no bi akotwa wo board ye na wo se ye ba bro no a ekunu da bi no enye se bibia akɔwie wo court e cha kra enye hwe sometimes e ka wo nso your system na no na mo ba ko ayanka memede so na ne se wunya asem na se wunni lawyer ye wo a lawyer for mu ya ban lawyer for mu ka asem free o mu ne frɛ won sen no legal aid obibia na djuma ni pay nu sa ana wanya djuma kora no me pa chawo wunya asem amount na fie wopa court wana police station na bisa se ehemfa na legal aid a lawyer for no ewo region bia so ewo system regions ni mu bia no ko bisa ye be kire na ya trodi aban be handle wo case na ma free no so wo faale kura wontua sika.
Thank you so much. Na me dey ka hono top next week and next 2 weeks no you be discussing basic institutions legal aid rep ebeba hasi I'm here discussing you be discussing. So as I was saying next week next 2 weeks we'll be discussing the basic institutions. So we're looking at the police, the prisons, the legal aid, the ages office. We'll have all their reps here, so don't worry, we'll delve into it. And our time is fast spent. Please take care of yourself, and until next week, please adieu from us.